Good morning and welcome back. Zulu is here with another chapter of Monster by Blackwing. So, without further ado, let's dive down into it. Public appearance. Well, that could have gone better, Nightshade said as one of the nurses took Fluttershy home. The poor thing has fainted. It's just a peck on the cheek and she passed out. He almost regretted doing it. What if she hates me now, or too embarrassed to talk to me again? What was I thinking? He noticed some of the other patients looking at him strangely, and not because he was human. Pulling his privacy curtain shut, he thought, I should have stopped talking to myself. Twyla had spoken with Celestia, who had explained in further detail what had transpired, and why she had decided to let him stay after what he had done. Assaulting a princess may be a crime with a terrible punishment, but given what she had done to him, and they have outcome mostly unscathed, she decided that it gave her much needed reality check. You mean you made a mistake? Twyla said, unable to believe her ears. My faithful student, you must learn that no pony is perfect. We all make mistakes, even princesses. She replied with a smile. I almost sent the innocent creature, she corrected herself, human, to his death, because I wasn't willing to look at his side of the story. And my blindness, I almost ended the life on another innocent, which he was willing to give his own to protect. So, Princess, does that mean you have a friendship report to write? Twilight said jokingly. Celestia returned her laugh. I guess I do. By the way, Lyra has informed me that the work you did together before Discord's release was brought the human to Equestria in the first place. Really? That meant it worked. Twilight always thought the experiment has failed. Indeed. However, I must caution you to take a little more care in choosing your future project, especially when it comes to alternative dimensions. Celestia shot her a glare. She loved her student, but she loved making her nervous even more. Yeah, trollololololol. Of course, Celestia, of course you do. Actually, I was wondering something about that. Whenever he would try to making the portal, he was always seemed to move forwards the Everfree forest. We couldn't never figure out why, she inquired. Hmm. When we were younger, Lona and myself lived there with our parents. It was the place that our parents used to send the humans to the world. The dimensional boundary became weaker because of it. That's why the forest is similar to their world, she explained. Rarity was busy making clothes. Pinkie Pie was busy inviting every pony to Ponyville to meet the monster party. Applejack was giving up on trying to hold her back and went home to scold Apple Bloom for not telling her sooner. Rainbow Dash finally found Schooldo. Hey, kiddo, she said solemnly. She felt guilty for brushing off her in the past 3 years. Hey, Rainbow, what are you doing here? Don't you have something like to do, like taking a nap? Just Bliv is still mad. Listen, I talked to your dad and I realized something. I'm an intensive idiot. All that time you were hanging around, I thought you just being a bother, but I didn't understand how important I was to you. So I want to make it up to you. Dash felt a pit in his stomach. How? Alex scolded. Well, is there something you want to do? I mean, I could take you to Cloudsdale. You never been there, right? Really? I have to. Dad said that he'd be okay for his own for the next 2 days, and I should try to have some fun. Why not? With that, the pair of Pegasi flew off into the sky. While Rainbow didn't like flying so slowly, this wasn't about her. It was about the little orange filly, who was finally getting some times with her idol. Yeah. Fluttershy woke up in her cottage, Angel Bunny jumping on her head. Again. Oh, Angel, I'm up. I wish you couldn't do that. Wait, Angel? How did I get here? Series of complex and confusing charades, only deciphered by Fluttershy herself. He told to her that she fainted in the hospital, and the nurses brought her home. She began blushing all over again. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, a kiss! He kissed me! I mean, it was only on the cheek. Maybe it just meant he being friendly. But what if it means more? What if he liked me? Oh, I fainted. I'm so embarrassed. What if he doesn't like me anymore? But said I'm cute when I'm embarrassed. So that's me. He thinking I'm cute. Maybe he doesn't like me. Oh my, oh my. She rambled to herself for several minutes. Maybe a kiss on the cheek. It's just a way of humans greet friends. But, but he said I was cute. I didn't feel like just a friend's kiss. But they were different species. And not just between Pegasus and Unicorn or Pegasus to Elf Pony. He wasn't even pony. Would it work out? What if he regretted it because I fainted? All these questions and more ran through her mind. She worked herself into such a fit that she passed out on the couch, an angel giving up on trying to wake her, just pulling a blanket over her and let her sleep. Oh dear. The next 2 days passed without incident. Celestia has returned to Camelot to deal with all the duties she was getting behind on, while Luna stayed to address the crowd of ponies that were obviously curious. She arranged a town meeting with the mayor, so she could announce the newest resident. Rarity had already stopped by the hospital to give him his new clothes. He had just finished taking a bath, and the new clothes fit perfectly. They were made of some of unknown fabric. It was smooth and soft and durable. All at the same time, it was warm, but it also breathed. He figured out it must have some kind of magic in it because there's no way normal fabric could do all that. He also got a new cloak to replace his old one. It was sturdy. Instead of the black one he had before, Rita made it white to help him shake off the scary image. It made sense. In this world, everything was bright. If he was wearing something dark like his old one, he stick out. That's when he saw it. His old trench coat, restored to his former self. Rarity, you're a miracle worker. He has been with me through everything. I almost thinking of having a funeral for it. Rarity thought it was a kind of odd having a funeral for dead clothes, but in the same time, it was anyone could understand the approaching appreciation of clothing. It was her. He wouldn't wear it in town, just in the forest. After all, to him, the free forest was his home, although he wouldn't mind giving Ponyville a chance. In the forest, his new white cloak would get ruined and would stick out like a Thor's sore thumb, attracting all sorts of attention. He didn't want the new one to end up like his old one. After thanking Rarity for the cloaks, as well as several sets of socks, shirt, pants, sockers, Rarity found it odd that his kind kept a certain private areas Since most ponies' heads up came up to his waist, it would be awkward to be he bumped into some pony on accident. So she didn't question it. He finally checked out the hospital. Wandering around the town, many ponies ran inside the houses and hide, while others just stared. No doubt the news that there was a human in Equestria had gotten around, and the fact that he was brought the princesses wasn't helping in the case. Oh well, they'll probably all get over it once they had a town meeting and Pinkie Pie's world-ending party. For the first time, he was bored. There was nothing to do, and it's not like he could do any stores, since they all closed up as he walked by. Looking around, he saw a large tree with a house built into it. Maybe a house with a tree growing around it. Either way, it caught his eyes. Approaching it, he saw it was labeled Ponyville Library, and below that and Twilight, Sparkle, and Spike. Nightshade had heard about Twilight and how she was a bit of a bookworm, but that she lived in a library, he thought that was a bit extreme. Knocking on the door, he heard a male voice come from within. Now that he thought about it, he hadn't seen any males anywhere, just the rare where they were. Twilight came out the door, and face was to his waist. She was never been this close to him standing up, and she realized now how much towering over her. Swallowing hard, she backed up so she could see his face without straining her neck. Um, hello? She asked, somewhat afraid. After all, even though things had been sorted out with Celestia, she was still afraid of him. Offering a gentle smile, ducking down to be more or less imposing, he asked, "May I come in?" Twyla stayed quiet, but stepped backwards to allow him entry. He carefully stepped inside, making sure not to hit his head. So, she stumbled. Nightshade? Nightshade, what brings you here? She really just wanted him to leave. Well, I got up to the hospital this morning, about an hour ago. I realized, although I lived here for 2 years, I know nothing about Equestria culture. I mean, we speak the same language, and I know that Celestia raises the sun and Luna raises the moon. Pegasus moves the clouds, Unicorn do magic, and Earth Pony farm the lands. But about but that's about it. I don't know any traditions. Other than Nightmare Night, while I heard of a few others, I don't know about them in detail. As for history, I got nothing. He said all in one breath. I figure since I'm going to Ponyville, at least for a while, I should probably know more. Uh, I stumbled across the library. What's better way to learn by reading? I don't want to be completely ignorant when I come down to town meeting tomorrow. And I like to say something that doesn't make me look like a complete idiot. Twilight was surprised. To her, he was just an alien, some monster who lived in the forest. The fact that he's actually interested in the culture and wanted to prepare for his public appearance ahead of time. She was actually surprised. She spent her next couple of hours teaching him the ins and outs of Ponyville and helped him write a small speech for when he was addressed to the people. He was just about to leave, but was around lunchtime. His stomach began to growl. He laughed weakly, obviously embarrassed. And on cue, Twilight called on Spike, who was still asleep, for him to get his flank out of bed. because it was lunch and they had a guest. He came downstairs half asleep and made 3 salads, most because it was the quickest thing to throw together. He brought them into the main room, and his eyes went wide. Monster! He yelled, dropping the salads and running upstairs. Luckily, Twilight caught them with her magic, and the two began to eat. After he ate theirs, Twilight called to Spike to stop being such a chicken and come downstairs. Reluctantly, he obeyed. He saw that the white-cloaked creature were there. He had to ask, "What are you?" "Well, I'm a human. Name's Nightshade. Now, what are you?" He said in the same tone as Spike. "I'm Spike. I'm a dragon." Nightshade's eyes went wide, and he seemed a bit eager on the edge. When Twilight asked him what's wrong, he explained their legends. "Well, in my world, there's a lot of stories about dragons, most of them bad. In my world, dragons are such monsters I mean yours. Even the mention of dragons inspires feeling of power and grace." Spike was obviously aware of him, so he figured it wouldn't hurt to rob his ego. Spike blushed a bit before regaining his usual sarcasm. "That's right, Buster. And just so you know, I'm watching you. I wouldn't have any other way. Now calm down and eat your salad." Spike sat down and ate, while Twilight answered any question he might have. "I noticed there aren't many guys around. Spike is the first male I've ever seen in the entire town. Happened there any reason behind that?" he asked. "Well, actually, the number of colts being born dropped somewhat in the past 2,000 years. At this point, males only make out 10 to 15% of the population," Twyla said in a teacher-like tone. "But that doesn't mean the large number of mares are single," he inquired. "Well, actually, a fairly large amount of mares are what known as fillyfooler, 2 mares with partners up. And while they sometimes adopt foals, they normally borrow a stallion," she said. "Ah, well, that explains a great deal," he said, now wanting to push any further of the subject. "Well, I've been here for a while. About time I get to town meeting. I should be on my way now. Thanks again for the help, Twilight, and thanks for the food, Spike. I was worried that I only being able to find hay in town." Okay. The citizens of Ponyville gathered near the town hall. The major began addressing them, saying that the Princess Luna would be here, the one handling the main introductions. She started off using her royal Catalot voice, but realizing there was a microphone, and she was deafening every pony, she quieted down for a bit. "As you may know, we have a visitor here. He is a human from another world. He has been living here in Everfree Forest up until now. This is second time in Ponyville, and it seems though he's been living here for a time. The first thing you must know, while he is a human, he is not a monster. As well you have seen on the most recent Nightmare Night, he rescued 3 fills from a criminal, Gilley, one of which is his adopted daughter." Several murmurs came from the crowd, and whispers. Luna cleared her throat. "The second thing that while my sister and I may have falling out with him, we have settled our differences and have decided to officially welcome him to Equestria. While he does possess a strange power, and he is different from the rest of us, he is not dangerous. We hope that you will welcome him with open hearts as you did with me." That was quite a mouthful. But having the princess explain what's happening made his job a whole lot easier. The major spoke up. Without further delay, here he is. The curtains opened and the major had to push him out on stage, up to the microphone. Hi. Great. Now if fine. Nightshade had crippling stage fright. Well, there goes the whole preparation. You can do it, Dad, Gilley piped up from the crowd. Knowing that she was there made him feel a bit more at ease. Well, my name's Nightshade, and I'm a human with a unique gift. Because of that, I had to run away from my old people. Somehow, Lyra brought me here without knowing it about 2 years ago, and I have been living in the Elfrey forest ever since. I adopted Skolo about a year ago, and I worked for Zagora gathering herbs to pay for stuff. I'm not really sure what else to say, so I guess that's it. Not the most charismatic, but it did a job. The crowd didn't look so scared anymore, and Nightshade was more relaxed. Great. Great! Now that's out of the way, let's party! Said a bouncy pink blob of pink and fur. Oh dear. The crowd moved into Sugar Cube Corner and around. Nightshade had never been to a party, so it felt really awkward, especially since he was not the only pony not there. The only known pony there. Okay. Not really one for the party scene. He sat certainly in the corner, answering questions for any pony who came by. A certain colt with patches of a British accent came up and looked nervous, trying to ask a question. Nightshade simply replied, "No, I don't eat ponies." That seemed to put his mind at ease. Several games took place, such as hoof wrestling, which Nightshade lost every round. He didn't use his power. That would be cheating. And a pie eating contest, which he placed second only to Pinky herself, of course. Enjoying the party a bit. He went into a corner and sat next to Flachet, who had been quiet the whole time. Um, Hi, mind if I sit here? He asked. No, it's all right. I mean, if you want to, she replied, beginning to blush. Listen, about that time at the hospital. I'm sorry. I should have done that. I know that embarrassed you so much that it caused you to faint, he said meekly. Oh, well, it's okay. I mean, I don't mind. Nice. She returned, began to blush again, and turned to meet his eyes. He began to blush too. Neither of them could figure out what about the other's eyes that had them so entranced. They both started to blush even more, before they looked away in the same time. Maybe it would be better if we stayed, he started. Just friends? She said. Just friends, he confirmed. They both knew that's the better way, but neither could help feeling a little sad. Obviously having feeling for each other, but circumstances didn't allow it. Then Fly thought of something. Um, do you have a place to stay? In Ponyville, I mean, she asked. Well, no. The cabin in the forest burned down, and while I just sleep in a tree sometimes, school can't, so we kind of stuck, Nightshade explained. Well, you can stay at my cottage, if you like. I could pull out the spare bed, and there's the couch. I mean, if you're okay. If you don't want to, replied Jay in her normal, timid tone. That's been nice, just for a couple of days, until I can build a new house. Nightshade backpedaled. Things were awkward enough between them. He didn't want to impose, or make it even more embarrassing for the yellow Pegasus. After the party, Nightshade, Bloodshine, and Scudlu headed to the cottage. It was small and had a cozy feel to all of it. All the animals were already asleep, except for Angel, who was quite upset that Bloodshy was coming home so late. Now that it not one but two guests. Oh dear. Nightshade had heard about the rabbit and decided to save him a piece of carrot cake. He took it greedily and shot him and a look that said, "I take your bribe, but I'm watching you." Having eaten far too many sweets, Nightshade and Scudlu had energy to spare, despite the bed and couch being the most comfortable thing they ever had laid on, being filled light as a cloud, Pegasus feathers. They just couldn't get to sleep. They went outside to wait for a bit, as he watched Scudlu fly around. Bloodshade came out for a little while, and she sat next to him. It's about 2 in the morning, and neither were tired, so he decided to cheat. Calling Scudlu over to him, he put his hand on her head. Nighty night. He watched as she passed out and put his arm in his arms and went limp. Nightshade carried her inside of her bed, after heading out to dump his stamina off to the forest. The first time he ever given the poor trees. He curled up on the couch and went to sleep. Fletcher looked at him sleeping peacefully, and she reminding the first time they had met, how he was quivering wreck. She remembered how he cried on her shoulder and worked at what kind of wounds he had held in his heart. He was so good with taking care of Scudlu, and at the party decided they should just stay friends, to spare her the awkwardness. Once he was asleep, she kissed him on the forehead, more of a motherly, caring than loving ones. She blushed deeply and went off to bed herself. Aw, cute chapter. And yeah, it was good. So, I hope you appreciate that one. And I will probably do one more directly after this one. So stay tuned and I will get back to it sooner or later. Zolo out.